Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well you better know now, because it's the place that it all goes down.
Welcome everyone back to the TWSN Weekly Recap Show. My name is Rishi Kody, and I'm joined here by my co-host Cody Everts. Cody, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. You know, in Ohio right now, it's super humid, it's hot, and, you know, everybody's working every day, but it's okay because at the end of the day, you get to come home, you get to watch some sports, and football is about to start. But other than that, I'm doing great. How about you, Rishi?
For sure, man. I'm chilling. It's just the usual 60 degrees, almost about to rain in Seattle.
Seattle.
So just classic Seattle-like weather. But yeah, other than that, we hope everyone watching is having a great day. We're here to talk some sports, right? We're here to give a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of news that happen across the different types of leagues. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Cody, you want to give us a little brief rundown of what's going on in the MLB?
Absolutely. So there's a lot going on in the MLB right now as far as races and into the playoff spots that are open as of right now. There's a lot of races, Reds and Padres and the NL, and there's just a lot going on in the AL right now. The Yankees are the hottest team in baseball, but that's not really what I want to talk about today. I just want to also bring up that Shohei Ohtani hit his 40th home run, the first player to go to 40 home runs this year. And I don't think he's going to slow down now. So we'll see how far he can get. There's still a lot of baseball being left to play. But the main thing I want to bring up is the NL MVP race. And the reason I want to bring this up is it's between two of my favorite non-Reds players to watch, and that is Bryce Harper and Fernando Tatis Jr. Right now, it's them two, and it's no one else. As much as I want to think it's some of the Reds players, it's nobody else. Bryce Harper right now has 22 home runs, 50 RBIs, and a 967 OPS, and he is just absolutely killing the ball. He's walking as much as he ever has in his career. Not as much as his MVP year, I want to point that out, but he's getting close. He's walking a lot. And as well as Fernando Tatis, he's been out with injuries a little bit as much as Bryce Harper this year, and Tatis has 34 home runs, so he's definitely beat him in that category, and he has a 1.042 OPS, and he is just absolutely destroying the ball, even with the injuries that he has faced this year. And the Padres made a move to send him to right field instead of shortstop to prevent some future injury that he might have. As we know, shortstop is a very, left to right athletic position, and so is the outfield. But so far, it looks fine. He's still killing the ball, no matter the injury, no matter how much he's out. But just what's your take on this, Rishi? I know you're not as involved in it all, but two very good players that are just killing the ball right now, and it's fun to see. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, pretty much. I know I'm obviously not into baseball that much, but I've heard of Tatis's name a lot in the past, and I continue to hear it whenever I turn on ESPN, any other social networks that I'm following. I see it a lot. I see some of the highlights. It's really interesting. But I got to go with my guy Shohei Ohtani in the other conference. Obviously, he's on the Reds, so he's probably going to win. But he is just very interesting. He's the one who's getting me more and more into baseball as I go. But of course, everyone that you just listed is really good players. So yeah, I'm slowly getting into baseball. Hopefully by the next couple of years, I'll be able to talk with you and hold a long 10-minute conversation about who's going to win, pulling up some different types of stats. But yeah, I'm slowly getting into it.
We'll get there, Rishi. Don't worry. We'll get you there eventually. But one other thing I wanted to bring up is Harper has a 3.9 WAR and Tatis has a 4.9 WAR. So, Tatis as of now has it in the bag. But eventually at the end of the season, I think Harper pulls ahead and ends up winning an NL MVP. But we'll see how it goes. It's a very interesting race as of now, but Tatis has it in the bag as of now, in my opinion. But we'll see how it works out because it's going to be fun, and Harper only gets better as the season goes on. Other than that, I think I'm ready to transition into the greatest sport to watch on Sundays. Yes, I said on Sundays. So what are you thinking, Rishi? Why don't you get us started?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started with this. We dive right into it. The NFL still in the middle of their preseason as we head into preseason week 3, because technically the Hall of Fame game kind of is week 1. So a lot of stuff has kind of sort of happened, right? We've had lots of rookie quarterbacks make their debut. We saw Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and of course, Zach Wilson for the Jets. Cody, what do you really think about these rookies? What's your biggest takeaway out of either the rookie quarterbacks, rookie wide receivers that you have right now?
So the thing I want to bring up about the rookies is every year I feel like rookies have just elevated their game when it comes to the start of the season, when it comes to just their first year in general. And there's a lot of there's a lot of high expectations for the quarterbacks this year. And one thing I want to point out is we got to stop putting so much pressure on these rookie quarterbacks. Like Zach Wilson, I think, is actually a very talented quarterback, but he's got a lot of pressure on him to turn the Jets around and really prove that he can be the quarterback of the future. And I think he's going to struggle this year as much as I liked him at the beginning of the year. And from what I've seen, the confidence, what I saw in the first preseason game out of Justin Fields, I think he's going to be the best rookie quarterback as of this year. I mean, I'm not underrating Trevor Lawrence at all. I just think his situation in Chicago seems better as long as he can beat out Andy Dalton. But that could be hard for him. You never know. Andy Dalton says it's his job as of now, and it probably is. But Justin Fields is a competitor, and he's gonna find his way into that lineup, whether Andy Dalton likes it or not. So I think the rookies have a lot of pressure on them this year, especially there's a lot of good receivers that are going to be thrown into some heavy situations. Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith. There's a lot going on, and Jalen Waddle as well. But my favorite rookie to watch and talk about is Justin Fields at this point in Chicago.
Yeah,
that's
for
it.
Sure. Yeah. I'll kind of add on to that. Justin Fields is obviously really entertaining. I think one of our fellow analysts at TWSN, Pranav, did a really good job of kind of underlining how disrespected he was in the whole draft process. I mean, this is a guy who could have easily been a consensus top 2 pick, maybe not above Trevor Lawrence, as a lot of us speculated, but the way that he fell sort of within those last month to 2 leading up to the draft was really disrespectful to him. This is a guy who really balled out in the final college playoff series. Of course, he was dealing with that rib issue. So yeah, I think it's really interesting to watch him play. He's really electrifying. You touched a little bit on Andy Dalton and how he thinks it's his time right now. I think it's fair for him to say it, right? He's a veteran quarterback. He's not just going to let Justin Fields take over the throne, as to say. But it'll be interesting. He's obviously a really dynamic quarterback. We saw a bit of what he could do with his legs last weekend when he, I think, rushed for about 50 yards. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the rookies. Another guy I also wanted to touch on who is a rookie is the wide receiver for the Panthers, Terence Jr., who came out of LSU. I know it's only been 1 game, but he was absolutely electrifying in his debut last Sunday. Absolutely. So I look forward to hearing more from him. I think he's also another guy that fell pretty far in the draft. I expected him to go on along with the wide receivers who ran early in the second round. So if you think about, Dwayne Eskridge, Tutu Atwell, all those people who kind of ran early in the second round, I thought he'd go around there, but he fell a little bit further. But yeah, aside from that, Cody, I guess we can sort of move away from rookies. What are your more general thoughts about the NFL preseason, and what do you expect going into the 2021 NFL regular season?
Well, real quick before I say anything about that, Dash Peterson brought up the question of Bengals or Washington football team tonight, and just based off of what we got going on here, I'm going to be taking the Bengals because one thing I want to point out about the Bengals this season is they have a lot of depth at the skill position this year and all the skill positions this year. So definitely got the Bengals tonight. We'll see how it turns out, but I'm glad Joe's not playing in Washington again because that just makes me nervous. Secondly, about the preseason in general, something I really noticed. I want to put a twist on this and just talk a little bit about fantasy in this aspect of a sleeper that I think a lot of people should definitely keep their eye on because of how electric he can be and just how much or how good he is at putting up big numbers in the past, and that is Phillip Lindsay for the Texans. He's not with the Broncos anymore, and he is ahead of David Johnson, and I can't remember the other running back there for some reason right now, but he's ahead of both of them in the depth chart, and he got all the first-team reps in the first preseason game, and I think he's the best back on the team, so we'll see how he does, honestly, but I think it's someone you should watch, and if he takes over RB1 for that team and really just gets the role and a 3-down back, I think he'll be a viable fantasy option just in general as a good running back, but I want to bring that up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I 100% agree with you, right? They just signed Mark Ingram. They got Rex Burkhead, David Johnson. So it's a pretty crowded running back, especially when you talk about experience and a lot of veterans.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of moving on to that, another big takeaway that I had for the preseason so far is that Drew Locke and the Denver Broncos are looking absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's kind of a repeated thing. We say this every preseason. We're like, oh, is this the year that they're finally going to contend with the Chiefs? Are they going to be rivals like we all expect them to be? And right now, we can't conclusively say yes, but this year is looking like the strongest, right? You've got Drew Locke, who I believe went 5 for 70, threw for about 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's
KJ
only
Hamler.
5 completions. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He looked really comfortable in the pocket. He was on timing in his deep ball. I've heard a lot of reports coming out of training camp that he is just absolutely exceeding expectations. And with the wide receiver core that they have, KJ Hamler, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and the others, the depth positions that they have, I think this is really primed for. This should be Drew Locke's really final year, right? He's on the hot seat because he's had 2 prior years where he's shown glimpses, but has he been consistent? No, because that's the name of the game for him. It's an inconsistency, and he's just been inconsistent his whole career. So this is really the make it or break it year for him. And then, of course, on the defensive side, they had Pat Surtain, who just does not even look like a rookie quarterback or cornerback at all, right? You saw that pick six that he had. That was a complete veteran move. The way he looked off the quarterback, kind of baited him into that little out route.
Mm-hmm.
The Broncos have a lot of bright spots on their team, especially on their defensive line, the cornerback. We already touched about it. The wide receivers, the offensive line, the quarterback. Just a very interesting team. And I think that AFC West with the Chargers, the Broncos, and the Chiefs, and of course, you could argue that the Raiders are up there too. I don't think so.
Tristan's not very happy.
Yeah. Those 3 teams are just really interesting. I can't wait to watch more of the AFC West.
No, I totally agree. I think the Broncos have a lot of exciting pieces, and Cortland Sutton getting back in there and ready to make an impact for that team. And I honestly, and a little bit, I'm a truther this year for Drew Locke as well. And something that just a little comparison that might be a little bit of a reach, but I at least want to say is he's on the hot seat, like you said. And I kind of feel like the fans feel the same way about him as the Browns did after his sophomore year, after Baker Mayfield's sophomore year. And basically they're like, if he can't turn it around this year, he's not the one, and they'll lose even more faith in him. But I think Drew Locke has a good season and really proves to the team that he can be a franchise quarterback in a way to in the way as Baker, with a lot of good players around him, and he can just make big plays when he needs to. But the key thing for the Broncos is it's Jerry Jeudy breakout year, and it's got to happen. So I'm ready for it to happen.
Yeah, for sure. And that's pretty much all for the NFL. We've got a couple beat writers going for TWSN. I personally will be covering the Seattle Seahawks. So if you're interested, go ahead and give me a follow. Go ahead and give TWSN a follow on Twitter, on Instagram, or it's just at TWSN. YouTube, subscribe to us. It's really time to kind of grow into the NFL season, right? We're going to hear lots of reports, lots of week by week chatter, a little bit of inside information here and there. That's pretty much all we've got for the NFL. Now we can, sort of transition into our segment where we touch on 2 articles that we enjoyed and that you should check out either on our app or on our website, twsn.net. Cody, do you want to get started with your article of the week?
Yeah, so this guy's kind of goofy in our company. He's honestly just a little bit goofy. He wears a white button up right now, but his name's Rishi Kody, and he wrote about the Seahawks defense and how it has tremendous depth this year and something they look forward to. And I actually agree. But I read that as soon as he sent it out, actually sent it to me, and I wanted to check it out. And honestly, he's right. The Seahawks are a team that every single year they're like, all right, this is it. Russell's slowing down. He's going to struggle. The offensive line's awful. Every year they're still a very good team, and it doesn't matter what people think in the preseason or in the offseason. And I think it's going to continue to be that way, but they'll actually get better and hopefully don't slow down at the end of the year like they did last year. So. I think the defense is going to be key. So check that out. Rishi did a great job on it. Love the read. There we go.
Thank you, Cody. I did not expect that, but the article is also probably one that you're going to enjoy. It's what to watch for as MLB nears its stretch run.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm sure if you're a normal watcher of the show, I'm not the baseball guy. I feel like that's my whole personality on the show now. But this is really entertaining and interesting read. Just because it's easy for me to turn on a baseball game, but I have no clue what I'm watching. Right? I didn't watch the regular season. I didn't watch much. All I watched was Shohei Ohtani. But I think Michael Seitz, the author, the publisher of this article, did a really good job of just breaking it down in little narrow steps to kind of introduce MLB and baseball as a sport to more people like me. And it does a really good job of key players to watch, key teams to watch. As the Yankees seem to get stronger and stronger every day. I'm learning that too. Cody, how do you like that?
I don't want to talk about the Yankees.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to turn it around this year. Honestly, I thought they were kind of a dead team for this year, and they would end up being fine. But it looks to me that they are at full force, and they're going to be a dangerous playoff team for sure.
Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much all that we have for today, right? We both shouted out our 2 articles. We hope you guys had a really good time tuning in today. We'll be back here next Friday, of course, to talk about the different leagues. Hopefully, we'll also be able to touch a little bit on the NBA with more summer league action. We just didn't feel that there was enough to really inform you guys about.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Cody, do you want to say anything?
No, not really, except just please download the TWSN mobile app. We have a YouTube that you can subscribe to, and we got great video content on there. We got an Instagram and a Twitter that you should also follow. I believe our YouTube is so close to 1K, so please go on there, subscribe if you haven't already. Help us out. We're growing really fast, and I can't wait. Other than that, I think that's it for the week, and we'll talk to you later.
For sure, everyone. Have a really good day. Go enjoy your week. Go enjoy your weekend, I should say.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
Yep.
Get up, let me begin. This is TWSN. You ain't heard about us yet, well, you better know now because